now I come to the little story. When someone dies, you have to tell many organizations, many people, and it's a thankless task, as some of you will know, going to banks and building societies and telling government offices and so on. And I had to do all that in the winter. It was January last year, and miserable. But one of the organizations I had to tell, a minor one really, was a newspaper. Sally had a subscription to the Times, I think it was. And, well, I know it was because I read it digitally, but she hated all that stuff, so she would only read it in the paper form. So I had to phone the Times and cancel her subscription, but not mine, which I did, and that was fine. And about 3 months later, a lady from customer services phoned me and said, condolences on loss of your wife. I said, thank you. And she said, do you know that we have a website for our readers? I said, no. She said, because we think that people who read the same newspaper might get on quite well together. Yeah, some of you got before I did. I wasn't in a good place, so I didn't kind of think of it in any particular way. But a few months after that, again, I was on a train going to visit some friends in Italy, and my phone pinged, and it was from this website. And I touched on it, and it was a message for me from this website, and it said, oh, I tell you what, the lady on the newspaper, of course, she said, you've got to have a profile. So she took a profile down on the phone. She wrote it and asked me some questions and a photograph. And I just did what she said. So that was that. And a few months later on this train in Italy, phone pinged. So I touched on the message, and it was from this website. And it said, Dear M, I love your profile. I live in Edinburgh. Why don't we get together for a drink sometime? Yours, Jay. So I touched on her or him, and it came up with no profile. There's no profile, there was no photograph, nothing. Now, I know we have lots of genders these days, but I would have preferred it have been from a woman, and I didn't know who it was. I just didn't know. So I wrote back, Dear Jay, thanks for yours. Happy to join you for a drink when I get back to Edinburgh. But first, could I see your profile? Fair enough. There was no profile. As you've gathered, I'm not a terribly good typist. And I think I must have, the last two letters I must have not quite typed correctly. But, you know, the spell checker does it for you, doesn't it? So when I got back to Edinburgh, I thought I was looking at things on the big screen, and I thought, well, that's strange. Jay hasn't replied. She seemed eager to have a drink. And I thought, I better look what I actually said again. And it said, read like this, Dear Jay, thanks for yours. Happy to have a drink with you when I get back to Edinburgh. But first, could I see your profiteroles? Well, she thinks I'm a pervert, I think. A patisserie pervert. So that was my first experience of elderly dating. And it didn't work out too well. The end of a beautiful friendship. Well, now I've got this in the right, but we're going to Love of a Place. Yeah, that's all right. Most songs are about love of a person, but a few are about love of a place. Does anyone recall where Tony Bennett lost his heart? It wasn't Barnsley, no. Oh, San Francisco, that's right. And where did a nightingale sing in London? Berkeley Square, not Wapping, no. Now, this is The Love of a Place, and it's a song made famous by great jazz trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie. And none of us have been to this country, but some of you will have. And we like the lyrics because it's all about the stars and the night and the moon and finding our way through the desert by starlight and the earth ages old and wisdom. So join us now for a night in Tunisia. It's the same moon above you, aglow in this cool evening light, but shining at night in Tunisia, never does it shine so bright. The stars are aglow in the heaven, but only the wise understand that shining at night in Tunisia, they guide you through the desert sand. Words fail to tell a tale too exotic to be told. Each night's a deeper night in a world ages old. The cares of the day seem to vanish. The ending of day brings release. Each wonderful night in Tunisia, where the nights are filled with peace. The moon is the same moon above you, aglow in its cool evening light, but shining at night in Tunisia, never does it shine so bright. The stars are aglow in the heavens, but only the wise understand that shining at night in Tunisia, they guide you through the desert sand. Words fail to tell a tale too exotic to be told. Each night's a deeper night in a world ages old. The cares of the day seem to vanish. The ending of day brings release. Each wonderful night in Tunisia, where the nights are filled with peace. Each wonderful night in Tunisia, where the nights are filled